It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
Welcome back, everybody, to Party Chat Sports. We've got the entire crew here tonight. Dylan, Drew, Cam, myself. We just had the NFL draft last week. Went through that. It's been a long offseason leading up to the NFL draft. But unfortunately, these next couple of months are about to be even longer. Before we get to that, before we get to these dreadful next 2-3 months where we're going to have to find things out of our ass to talk about, let's talk about the one thing that we can all agree on, and that is that the NFL draft, while it came and went, I'm losing words.
You're struggling a little bit. You're struggling a little bit.
Rough night. I'm usually good with
fun,
these,
okay?
man.
It was fun, okay? The NFL draft was fun. There was a lot of storylines. It was kind of crazy. So I think that's just what we want to talk about, right?
Yeah. Let's just talk about, that's kind of what we're talking about today, is what we liked, what we didn't like, and just kind of going from there. The first thing, what's that, Cam?
Hold on, I'm gonna get you going here. Hey, congrats to Shadur. You know, he's gonna have to overcome adversity. He's got a storyline and narrative that he can fix now. So you know, congrats to you. You went to the best possible team. Go Shadur.
He wasn't even their first selection. They took another quarterback and then took him. You could tell from the footage that they showed after they drafted him that it was like the owner stepped in, is what it looked like. Andrew Berry was like not having it. You don't take Shadur after taking a quarterback in this class already. Like, you took Dylan Gabriel. Okay? It's a 5'8" lefty. That's Caleb Gill, okay, just more athletic. And they took him over Shadur Sanders.
A couple of things. I have the Browns in my bottom 3 of draft classes.
That's crazy.
Really, Mel Kiper gave him an A+.
Yeah, that's because
crazy.
Mel Kiper is...
That's because everybody hates Shadur Sanders. They don't know how to draft quarterbacks and evaluate talent in this league.
Yeah. Coming from the guy that misses on his quarterback rankings like every year. I don't know how this bozo is still on TV, to be honest.
Can we revisit the Jimmy Clausen?
Yeah, Jimmy Clausen. He said if he doesn't turn out, he'd be gone off of TV. Well, that was a lie.
Johnny Manziel was one that he was high. Like, he's got tons of receipts. It was Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer's the quarterback he was talking about when he made a name for himself.
I mean, he was the guy that had like Mahomes 5th in his draft class, something like that. You know,
Ty Schmidt might do a better Mel Kiper than Mel Kiper does Mel Kiper at this point.
I don't know what that means.
He does an impressive Mel Kiper impression. He's probably more accurate than Mel Kiper too. The issue with Mel is everybody that was high on Shadur got so butthurt that the NFL told everybody he's not it. And as we move through the draft, you get past the second round, it's like, I really don't see him as a starter. Is he worth the publicity that's going to come as a backup?
No.
He's not. If you're taking him because he's a backup quarterback at best. So why are you bringing in this publicity, this media, everything? I mean, you just look at how many things the NFL Twitter and Instagram accounts posted after he was drafted.
Isn't he
They
like the
posted
only
more than the number 1 overall pick in the draft. They focused more time in tweeting about a guy that went in the 5th round than they did the guy that went first overall.
So let me say this. Back to my original point of this being a bottom 3 class for the Browns. Simply because of Shadur. if we take Shadur out of the equation, if they don't take Shadur, their draft class is pretty solid, actually. Mason Graham, dog. They got the combo of Jug Kids and Sampson. That's pretty sick. Harold Fannin, going to be pretty good.
Bottom three is. I feel like that needs to be brought back up.
Can I finish?
Bottom three.
I mean, are we going to let me finish, or are we just going to keep it interrupted? All right. Thank you. This just shows how dysfunctional the Browns organization is and how disconnected the front office is with each other, the owner, the coach, the GM, all on two separate sides. And this will turn into a cluster, you know what I want to say there.
A circus.
Yes, because, they picked Dylan Gabriel, a reach, by the way, a huge reach, so that their owner, so that they don't have to, trying to avoid the owner stepping in to say, hey, draft Shadur. He does it anyway, and now this whole quarterback room is going to be a mess. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how good the rest of the players are, because this is going to dominate the story of the Browns' entire season, and it's going to ruin the season. And whether Shadur makes it in the NFL or not, obviously will remain to be seen. I didn't have him high in my quarterback rankings pre-draft. I had Dart above him, and wasn't surprised when Dart went above him. But with how that pick absolutely tanked the rest of it, simply because of the amount of distractions it's going to bring, the amount of bad publicity it's going to bring, the fracture in the front office that just got deepened. And it's just something that the Browns are going to have to struggle with all season, all career of Shadur, as long as he continues to be a backup and not a starter. And that's just so bad for your football team. The rest of it really doesn't matter.
I've seen comparisons to the year that they went 0, was it 16, 17? I don't remember if it was a 16, 17 game year, where they started. It was like Brock Osweiler, Cody Kessler, Deshaun Kaiser. It's very close to that quarterback room, except there's going to be more eyes and more cameras on this room because of Sanders. It's going to
go crazy.
It's going to be crazy, ugly, and bad. And here's the thing too that sucks.
I wish Hard Knocks would be able to go there, but I don't think they can.
They can. Hard Knocks can go wherever. It's just there's stipulations on who can tell Hard Knocks no. So a team like the Chiefs could still be on Hard Knocks, but they have the luxury of being able to tell the NFL and HBO no. But Hard Knocks was their 2018?
That's on Shadur, Drew.
Yeah, they were featured in the last 8 years, so they are.
Can I help you, big dog?
Just asking your thoughts on Shadur.
Yeah.
I'm waiting my turn.
That's all. I mean, that's all I had to say about the Browns. It's just hilarious. That whole organization is hilarious to me, and I hope this continues for the rest of my life. Makes me happy.
All right, now's my turn. I think you're completely wrong.
That's fine.
I think the Browns are a top 3 draft class.
The rest of it, yeah.
All right, perfect. So that's what I'm looking at as a unbiased visual, just
I'm not
about
biased.
The draft. Unbiased analyst for the draft. Give me the Browns as one of my top draft classes because okay, listen here. You got Mason Graham, who was consensus top 5. They do get him in the top 5.
Top 3.
Plus another first-round draft pick next year.
Huge.
That they can't use on quarterback.
Carson Schwessinger. They can do whatever they want. Guess how much they're paying Shadur and freaking Dylan Gabriel? Nothing. Pennies. They're still paying that one dude a whole lot of money. But
They are.
Obviously,
indeed.
that's not stopping them now. But anyways, Schwessinger, who's probably the number 1 linebacker, pure linebacker, not like one of these Jalen Walker type of dudes.
Jahad
who's
Campbell.
Nah. He's still one of those more hybrid guys where Schwessinger is just pure linebacker. Judkins, who was one of the best running backs in the draft. Fannin Jr., Dylan Gabriel again, I don't know about all that, but Dylan Sampson, that's what I'm talking about. And Shadur, who is better than a 5th-round pick. Let's be honest. I mean, if he wasn't...
no.
He is, but is the package...
If he wasn't bringing all the baggage with him, he goes much higher than 5.
Cool name. but
based on talent alone. So
not good. Talent.
I wasn't really that
What-
much
what are you
impressed
talking
with the
for?
film, though. I
No
still don't
talent.
think his film is
there's not
questionable.
no talent. Open your eyeballs. Take the blinders
Committed
off
to
for a second.
FAU, man. He committed to FAU.
Are we?
And then he had to have his dad have him as a starter for the rest of his career.
So
He's not that
Cam
good.
Ward.
You can,
We're talking about
Pretty
people
good.
committed.
his best throws are bailouts to his receivers. He doesn't.
He's
He
just
has
making that
terrible
up.
tape. Terrible tape.
Making that up.
I will
You didn't
sit
watch
on
a
that.
second of
If
it.
He will never be a true
You watched
starter in the
whatever was on
NFL.
If the logic
ESPN
is
at the
where
time,
they-
and that was it.
If your logic is where they committed Cam Ward, where did
Went
he
to
commit
Incarnate
to
Word.
originally?
Incarnate Word. We played him. I played Incarnate Word.
Oh,
We lost.
hell yeah. So he just went. He just went first overall. So
Listen,
you
they
say
were
because
nasty,
he
okay?
committed to Incarnate Word, he's a bum? Like, come on. Doesn't matter
You're-
who he committed.
listen,
to.
He's not.
Listen,
What
I'm
did
not
he do?
getting
He
on
didn't do
here.
anything against
I'm not
good
getting on here and saying
competition.
Shador is great and elite. I didn't think he was worth a first round draft pick, but he
Bet
wasn't.
every bet.
He wasn't bad. He wasn't.
No, he was
terrible.
worth day two. He was worth a day two
Easily.
pick.
He definitely wasn't
There are
bad,
some
and we've had
atrocious
this.
quarterbacks that get drafted.
We've
Let's
had
not-
this.
let's
We
not
had
get
this
over that.
conversation when Cam said he's a below average quarterback in college, and mathematically that means there's like 300 other
I
quarterbacks better than
think
him.
I said average in college.
No, you said below
said
average.
below average. Which
Hold on, can I find the receipts? Now I know how to do this. Can we find the receipts?
I think that was in Snapchat. But anyways,
Snapchat.
I'll
It
stand
wasn't
on it.
Snap.
that's fine, but it's wrong.
Accomplished absolutely nothing.
That's
I mean,
fine.
nothing.
retired.
And his best throws, I would like to know what bailout throw stats. PFF, bring that up.
I don't know if that's a thing. I watched his film. I did not like it because there were throws that it felt like Travis Hunter did all the work or vice versa. But I'm not going to also say that it's bad because he threw for like 4,000 yards and had a bunch of touchdowns. So
And he's still a fifth round pick. Like, no matter what I think he should have been or what you think he should have been, that's what he is. And I think either way, that's good value.
a below average college QB goes undrafted, or a bad quarterback goes undrafted, unless you're like Tim Boyle. I don't know if he was drafted or not, but he should not be in the league. It's the worst college quarterback I've ever seen, but he's in there.
Tell me about it.
So yeah, that's a lot of that. That's a lot of.
But
He was
I think
undrafted.
the Browns are good. I think if you
The Browns
If
are
you
not
ask
good.
a-
They're draft classic.
if you ask a lot of people if their draft was good, they'll tell you yes. Especially ones that obviously think much higher of Shador. Obviously, they're going to think it's good.
Wasn't there consensus like 30th though on that tweet you sent?
No. No, it's much, much higher.
The one that Drew sent, the consensus, if you average out everybody's grades for the Browns, it was 9th best.
Okay, I'm thinking of a different team that I'm going to
on
talk
that
about
list.
later. My bad. My bad.
I liked the Browns, and I really liked the
So
fact
the,
that you
the
pointed
list we're
out-
talking about took,
No, go ahead.
just real quick, the list that we're talking about took all the grades, not all the grades, but a lot of grades from popular draft writers, sources, includes Mel Kiper, but includes, other writers as well from different platforms. I think, who else is on here? Bleacher Report, PFF, I think The Athletic, like a bunch of sources, not just like 3 or 4. Like
The
there's
Score.
a ton of sources on here. Takes the grades
PBS.
and then gives like a GPA based on those grades and then ranks based on who had the highest GPA, who had the lowest. And the Browns were 9 on that list.
Yeah.
Again, like draft grades honestly don't mean anything. We have not seen these players play a single snap.
I feel like most
Best
draft
draft.
grades are A's, anyways.
Yeah.
Like
the number anyways, the number one like draft grade could easily be all busts. Like
Yep. We
We
won't
have no
know for
idea
3
until we get
years. 3 years is about the time.
But
for
what's the
base.
fun in that, What's the fun in that?
exactly.
Speaking
I wanna
of
know now.
draft grades, one of my A pluses, if this is a good transition time, is the Patriots. I think they nailed it. They have a bunch of dogs. I'll save one for Cam, but Will Campbell at number 4, dying on the field for Drake May. Awesome pick. Kyle Williams in the 3rd. Kyle Williams is a dog.
Disgusting.
That's bullshit.
Joshua
Baby Travis
Farmer
Hunter.
in the 4th, so defensive tackle out of Florida State. Dog. That's a great pick. Jared Wilson started a bunch of games in the SEC at center for Georgia, so that's fine. I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot of the other names, but then, circling back, Travion, go watch the running back video if you want. But pretty good. Cam, why don't you go in on that?
Yeah, I think Travion is one of the highest value picks in this draft for a couple reasons. You're going to pair him up with Stevenson. I think that is going to be a great speed and power punch to your
Stevenson
offense.
sucks, but yeah, that's fine.
Speed and power. You always can use power back. Anyways, you get Mike Vrabel, who, he's an Ohio State alumni, I will say that. And
Means nothing.
he likes his Ohio State guys, and he loves to run the football, loves to do the play action, loves to free up his receivers, and that's where Kyle Williams is going to come in. It's going to be disgusting, and I'm afraid the Patriots are back and Jets aren't winning a game against them ever again.
Well, I don't know if they're back. They did have the number 1 pick because they were bad, but
Travion has probably grown up the most in college than any other player in this draft. The reason I'm going to say that, came out of high school, top recruit, did well, did terrible, and then did okay his next year and then his last year, because a couple things that he found and found peace with. This last year, his explosiveness, his blocking, his shiftiness, his vision is 1,000 times better, and he is coming out of college like he should have been a year ago. So Travion is going to be the best pick in this draft, and I think he's going to be an RB10 or top 10 in fantasy this year if he gets snaps.
There's one thing I needed to mention. You mentioned Mike Vrabel likes his Ohio State guys. That's the first time you ever drafted a guy from Ohio State.
He's from Ohio State. He likes his Ohio State guys.
He's never drafted a guy from Ohio State until
Is that what I said?
Hilarious.
Is that what I said?
You said he likes his Ohio State guys.
I said he likes his Ohio State guys.
He's never drafted one.
Does that mean he doesn't like them, or does that mean he just can't fit them on his current offense?
it means that you pretty much made that up on the spot. So
it means he's never drafted an Ohio State guy, meaning it's irrelevant.
That was purely vibes. Everything
That's
you
really
just
interesting.
said,
I
especially
would have never
about
guessed that.
especially about growing up the most. I didn't follow that one, but
He had Travion went through a period where
that's blasphemy because you haven't watched.
he went
Travion,
through a period where he was fumbling a lot. His sophomore year was a really down year.
He went
and
he
then
had,
no, Dylan, you
struggled
want to
a
know?
lot.
Oh,
And then I don't know about growing up, but he definitely took a huge leap in maturity this year. I can kind of see where Cam's coming from. He did grow up a lot, I hate using that word, growing up. He matured. He improved.
you guys in that locker room, huh? All right.
Just watching him on the field mostly, seeing freshman year he went off. Sophomore year, he slumped. It was a bad sophomore year, and then he really turned it around when Judkins came in. It's like, all right.
Also, the fact that he's the first one that brought Judkins in, became a team captain, found an inner spirit in Christ, and basically, what he scored 4,
Got
5
nothing to do with
touchdowns in the
football, but
CFP?
all right.
I would highly disagree. Look at the Texas game and what he said right after.
I did. That's got nothing. It's got nothing to do with football. Okay. Anyway, I think full
Travion
circle
was
though.
good.
Yeah, it was good, and we all like Travion as a football player because he has good qualities, regardless of the rest of it.
The entire draft process, I was really curious which Ohio State running back was going to go first. And the fact that they went within 3 picks, because it was 36 and 38, kind of goes to show how close in value these two were. And
yeah, I mean,
you guys did a whole episode on running backs.
They were
So
pretty
I don't
much
wanna, overstep.
much tied for a while. So,
and they were tied when it came to it. There was one pick that separated the two. You can't get much
It
closer.
depends on what
style.
What kind of running back you need.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your team needed.
Because I've always said, and to Cam's earlier point of the Thunder and Lightning, I feel like the best running back rooms have power and speed in two different forms or fashions. So it just depends on which one you needed.
Well, that's what like the Lions have. The Packers had it for a hot second with when AJ Dillon was good. Had that with Aaron Jones.
Unless you're a Saquon that has both, or a Derrick Henry that has both. Saquon less power, more speed. Henry more power, less speed, but still both. You need two. I mean, there's just limited guys that have both, but you need both in your running back room, just in general.
Absolutely. Well, it's what you guys tried doing with Najee and Warren.
Yeah, and you know what? It worked
That
for a
work out?
while. It worked for like, if we had a quarterback, I think that would have helped a lot, but we didn't. I think that's a great transition though, Gil, because my other favorite,
It is.
one of I liked the Steelers draft class a lot. I'm just going to talk about it for a hot second. I'm not going to.
Really?
I did. Can I explain what I'm thinking?
How about we let someone else have a turn?
No, he's talking. He's talking. He's rolling.
No,
No,
Gil.
it's okay.
Your turn. Cam, your turn. Someone say something else.
Drew, who do you like?
I already
literally
went with
brought it up.
mine.
He literally brought it up, so I kept talking, okay? My bad.
Listen.
Cam just
All right,
talked about
all right.
Trey Lance for like
I'm gonna
20
set
minutes.
the stage here. I'm gonna set the stage here.
I don't get it.
Dylan has given one of his bottom three and one of his top three. I've given one of my top three, or however many we're gonna do. Gil, Cam, go.
Cam,
Thank
go.
you.
Who do you like?
That's all I had is
Balling
Travion.
on me.
That's all you have.
Donovan
You don't
Jackson
have
was
any
good.
favorite class.
But it was 20 minutes late to the pod, and that's the only answer he brought. It's funny.
I like the
Just
Bears.
pick one.
I like the Bears. I like them going up. I thought it was interesting that they took Tyler Warren over Colson Loveland, but it makes sense for what they're looking for. They're two different types
got
of
it
tight
backwards.
ends. Thank you.
They took
You knew what I
Loveland
meant.
over
You
Warren.
knew what I meant. You knew what I meant. The two different types of tight ends. If you want the more big slot type guy, that's Loveland. Tyler Warren is like more your inline George Kittle-esque. And I hate comparing guys to like the best of the best, but
It
that's
was
like the closest
surprising at the time of the draft, but it sounds like it should have not been surprising.
no, I thought
If you see some of the stuff that Rappaport was saying,
I was just about to allude to that. It was like the
the,
Texans, the Eagles, or something like that.
yeah,
they were
there was
talking
quite a
about
few
trading up.
teams that were trying to get up there to the top, top half, top quarter, second quarter of the draft, whatever that would be.
And then the Bears turned in that pick.
At 10 and after, and as soon as the Bears drafted Loveland, all that talk was done.
Yep.
So
Again, two different styles of tight ends. It's just a matter of what you prefer. And for the Bears, with what was, I liked it. And then also being able to get Luther Burden in the second round. That's a guy that I saw multiple times him projected in the first round. Did we take him in the first? Did we take him
Yes.
last week? Last week, I'm pretty sure the
he
first
went
one we
into the
did.
first. He went to the end of the first. He went in the 20s. Maybe the Texans.
And then Ozzie, the tackle out of Boston College, was a guy that, listening to Badlands and Connor Rogers, who does both, Jets podcasts and Bleacher Report and a bunch of other stuff, he was really high on this guy for the Jets. So I started looking at him a little bit. They kind of fills that offensive line need that, they repaired the offensive line a lot in free agency, but still getting that depth. What they did the first 2 rounds, I think, is promising. It's good for the start of the Ben Johnson era in Chicago, getting your star tight end, because every offense needs good tight ends. Cole Kmet is a solid tight end, but if you want to be a really good offense, Cole Kmet is not. You got to do better than that. Colson Loveland has that chance to be that guy. Luther Burden, you pair him up with Romadunze, DJ Moore, like that could be. It has the potential to be a really good offense as long
Free
as
DJ Moore.
Get rid of him. Tired of him.
Yeah, send him to New York.
No.
Yeah, that was
the
a.
Patriots.
He's a
Rebuild the
Cowboy,
Patriots.
honestly.
Why do you hate me, man?
I don't. I'm a big Vrabel fan.
I wonder why.
Would you have been a big Vrabel fan if he was the
Cry
Jets
over
head
there,
coach?
man.
Would you
Huh?
be this hard on Vrabel if he was the Jets head coach?
No, I probably would have had more empathy for the Jets, but I still wouldn't like you.
Respect.
That's just personal. Can I say one thing?
Yeah, sure. It's an open pod, free country, man.
Coolest name drafted, Baltimore Ravens, 6th round, Robert Longerbean. That's it.
The Vikings drafted
That's the coolest name you got?
Longerbean. It's kind of
Longer
nice.
beam?
Yeah.
It's a little sus.
I'm keep my
If
thoughts.
we're gonna
to
talk about
myself
the
here.
Vikings draft real quick.
They
All I'm gonna
drafted
say
a
is,
Bartholomew.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get to the worst ones.
what do you? No. It was a great draft
We'll
for
get here
Brian
now.
Flores, and then Donovan Jackson. That's it. That's all I gotta say. Donovan Jackson. I was super excited.
Great draft.
Was it a good draft?
Flores, bro? You didn't pick a defensive player until the 5th round. Hey, the floor
We
is yours. Ken.
we got athletic defensive tackles. We got athletic defensive people. I like the draft. We built in free agency.
New York Times and The Athletic has the Vikings ranked 32nd among draft classes. There are 32 teams in the NFL, for those of you that did not know.
That's because the players that we drafted are all athletic guys, and we are taking chances because we rebuilt our line. We got the final piece in the first round, and we rebuilt everything in free agency. So we're good over here. We're good over here.
Good until J.J. McCarthy steps on the field and completely blows.
It definitely was not that great of a draft class, but that's okay. It didn't need to be.
I think no, it didn't need to be. You didn't have a lot of picks. There was some picks that you guys didn't have because of like Dallas Turner trade last year. And I was sitting before we started recording and before Cam hopped on. I was telling the other guys, I'm sitting there watching day 2. I'm like, I haven't seen the Vikings yet.
Yeah,
Like,
we had.
Let's not forget they traded for a quarterback.
We needed one.
Did
Well,
you?
Sam Howell action.
That's right.
Yeah, what was that comp?
I don't hate it.
For Sam
It's like a
Howell and a
fifth.
5th round pick from Seattle and sent a 5th round acquired in the deal that. Where did that deal to the Rams?
I would have done
I
that
don't know.
deal. I would have done that deal.
I'd take that deal. How about you? You take that deal?
I'd take that.
I'm
deal.
I
not
saw that
offensive
he still
line,
had to
he-
pass the physical for that deal to go through, and he didn't pass till after the draft. So, like, what happened if he failed?
We get that draft pick.
No, I think all those picks
Did you
were
get that
for
player?
2026. I don't think. Did they?
No, it was a
That-
current. It was a
No,
current pick that they.
No,
traded
we
for.
didn't pick because we went from like 150 to 170 or something.
You picked that 139. However that went down.
Unless
Anyway.
it was unless it was a 6th round pick in 201.
Might
Either
have been it's enough of that maybe.
Here's something I didn't like. I didn't like what the Falcons did.
That was
I
one of
thought it
mine.
was really. There was some players I liked from the Falcons draft, but them going up and giving a 1st round pick for a non-quarterback, like a 2026 1st round draft pick, you traded up for a non-quarterback, made no sense to me.
If he's good,
If he's fair, but Jalen Walker, you drafted. I'm not sure where they plan on playing him. They could play him as an edge, a linebacker. I know he's
yes.
versatile. But James Pierce, you probably could have gotten an edge later.
Ukulele?
You can't get James Pierce later.
I guess not. And I guess that's why it took the Falcons forever to turn the card in, because they were debating on they were going to take Walker or Pierce. So that's both worlds in that scenario. But you still gave up a 2026 1st round draft pick.
I think the
When you have
reason
a
it
young
looked
quarterback.
weird is because another team traded up right before him and gave up
Giants.
and gave up practically nothing, and then they traded up and gave up a future first.
Yeah.
Makes
I
it
think,
kind of look
I
tough.
think that's where it starts to get bad. Is when you start to compare it to like a draft or a trade that happened right before. But like if you think about it in a vacuum, with no context, It's kind of like
That's healthy.
It's kind of like what the Texans did last year to get what's his face.
Will
Will Anderson.
Yeah, and James Pierce, the player, the production and the on the field is worth giving up a first round pick to go get. The only reason he fell as far as he did was because of off the field stuff. So if you can convince yourself that that is no longer a problem or not going to be a problem, like the player you're getting is fantastic. But obviously,
Does
that's
that factor in that they also drafted edge already, like 11 picks before?
Yes,
Well,
because
he's
if those
hybrid.
two guys turn out to be 6-year players,
They also
for them,
have
it's
like
gonna look
one
good.
of the worst
I mean-
pressure rates in the NFL, so they act. They
I was
do need-
gonna. That was a follow up. I was gonna ask. Do they have anybody like are
No.
both of these dudes gonna play? I mean,
I
so I
think
can
they'll
see
have-
the fit. I
Judo
could see
is-
the fit, but who?
They've been
Unless-
one of the worst pass rushing teams in the league for a couple seasons now, at least.
Is Grady Jarrett still there?
And then they went back to
I
back.
don't know, man. If he is, he's not doing anything.
Bro, that's like a 2018 Madden name.
No, Grady Jarrett was.
What are you talking about, dude?
It is.
Grady Jarrett is still a great player.
For the Bears.
He's so great, didn't even know where he was.
Well, he looks like he signed with the Bears this offseason.
My point still stands.
So he was on one of the worst pass rushing units in the league this last season.
He recorded 2.5 sacks in 2024.
Wow, what a guy!
Started all
Defensive
17
tackle.
games.
That's
Dog.
tough.
Defensive tackle.
He was good for a minute. But that was a while ago.
He's also
He has
32. He's getting up there.
yeah.
All I'm saying is the Falcons did need two pass rushers. They definitely did.
Yes.
And
All right.
one could
That's fair.
he might just be linebacker. He might be both. I don't know.
But then they went double safety, and then they pick a 7th round tackle. So just zero help for Penix. So hopefully he's got what he
Don't
needs.
sleep
That's
on
the
my
other
boy.
thing I didn't like too, is that like you drafted Penix last year.
Oop.
Bye. We lost him. We drafted Penix, or they drafted Penix last year, and now it's like, all right, have fun. Do it yourself. Because who do they have? Kyle Pitts?
Oh, they ain't got no wide receivers.
Alright.
Silence.
They got the young goat Drake London. What do you mean?
They do have one.
He's got a
They have Bijan.
goat. He's got
They
a
have
goatee of a goat.
They got
That's
Bijan. They
about
got Drake London. They got Darnell
London on
Mooney.
the
I
track.
forgot about Mooney.
They got
Who's that?
Pitt's breakout season.
Every year's a Pitts breakout season. And what sucks is when I buy into it in a fantasy draft.
I
It's
bought
like,
in.
You know
for
what?
the
He's
first
still
time.
here.
I bought in for the first time. I thought Kirk was going to unlock that man, and
He did not.
And then Kirk was a shell of himself.
Kirk was locked.
Kirk's about to
He
be the
locked
future
himself.
Steeler. What do you mean? You better hop on that Kirk Cousins train.
Even if he is, I just I think Mason
Sell
like
your
beats him
prior moves,
out. I
son.
don't know, man.
Nah.
I don't know.
Kirk Cousins all the way.
I think it's.
Bow down.
I think it'll be Rodgers, but
That's if he decides to come out of the darkness.
You
You
could have had
I mean,
Shador.
Gotta
Yeah,
pass
I'm-
the door.
I would have talked about this, but I got rudely denied when I
Listen,
was
we
thinking.
had to get some other input for a second.
The floor is yours.
Gil literally brought it up, so I just
I did. I opened
I
the
think
door,
I
and
think
now
it
let's
should
walk
go
through.
back to Drew though, because he still only said one. I think
We're just at this point. We're just beating.
I haven't
No.
said a bad one yet, so
We're
I'm gonna
going
go with the
back to
bad one
Drew.
here. I think the Bengals had an all-time stinker.
that was my third, just for the record.
Okay, Shamar Stewart, who could be an all-time bust, could be an all-time great. We have no idea, but
Very Tyreek Wilson-ish.
I think drafting a edge rusher with historically bad production is probably not a good idea. Could be wrong. I mean, he is a freak athlete. Things happen.
Still
Hey, welcome back, Cam.
But
Talk
with
about the
3.5
Bengals.
sacks in his career, like, I'm good. I'm
That's
passing on
so.
that,
It's so funny that because there was still some dudes on the board.
James Pierce was still on the board.
James Pierce was still on the board. I
Our
don't
boy,
know,
our
man.
man. We never doubted him.
Yeah, it's a great point.
There's like one pick, and that's Taj Brooks that I like.
I like Demetrius Knight.
I was about to say I kind of like
he's
Knight.
okay. Their defense. He's an upgrade over anybody that they had. Demetrius Knight, I'm talking about. So doesn't make him good on defense, but
what's his face?
Taj Brooks ain't even gonna play. They got Chase Brown and Khalil Herbert.
Taj Brooks is playing, bro.
Khalil Herbert breakout season.
Taj Brooks is stashed on my taxi squad. He is playing.
Just like Khalil Herbert was the next big thing. Huh?
He should have been, but he was buried on the Bears depth chart.
Because the Bears
That's
always,
why the Bengals
always
got him for
know
a
how to
7th
do
round
it.
draft pick.
Bears don't know what they're doing.
Well, now he's buried on the Bengals depth chart.
That kind of sucked, to be honest.
Like the Bengals had to go defense, but when
I enjoyed this.
You take a defense, I'm sure you did.
I enjoyed watching this happen.
Free Joe Burrow. That's
yeah, but hey, you know what? They made their bed. Now they got to sleep in it. They gave all their money to the offense, so they better put up 50 a game because they're going to need to.
They need these players to hit. Like, they have to be good.
And yeah.
And they didn't give their best.
But they didn't add any secondary. They added an edge and 2 linebackers. That's what they added to their defense. And that second linebacker was a 4th-round guy who I've never heard of. So
he's got a good linebacker name, though.
He does. Barrett Carter, Clemson, linebacker.
They drafted good linebacker names, so there's that.
Hey, sometimes that's all you need is name.
Barrett Carter.
Shamar Stewart. I'm going to be so excited to watch that dude just do nothing. Excited.
What? He had 4.5 sacks in 3 years?
I believe it was 3.5.
3.5? Oh, I overshot.
You overshot it.
You gave him
Overdid it.
I will say in the era of sacks don't matter, he did
sacks do matter when you're an edge.
They matter more than getting 0.
He did have a good
especially when he played FCS schools.
He had a good pressure rate.
Yeah.
He did.
Also, it was 4.5.
Oh my God. Huge pressure rate. Let's take him over James Pierce.
So you're telling me he barely averaged a sack against FCS? No, he didn't, because he would have played, 5 or 6 FCS schools?
He barely averaged a sack a year. He averaged like 1 sack a year.
He played A&M. It's an SEC school. They're playing some FCS schools. If he had 4.5 and he's playing 5 or 6, he didn't average a sack.
I don't know. I would imagine he didn't play the whole game of the FCS game every year. But he barely averaged 1 sack a year.
He somehow struggles to finish the tackle on quarterbacks. Like, he gets the pressure. He does some of the stuff right. He just needs to figure out how to make a tackle, which is kind of a problem.
Is that teachable?
For a first round defensive player? But that's just something I've heard a few times.
I don't know about you guys. I know I started football a little bit later.
His career pressure rate is 12.5%, placing him in the 56th percentile.
That's not good.
Which means he's average.
Average. I don't know about you guys. I started football a little bit later, so maybe, that put me ahead of the curve. But I learned how to tackle pretty early. That's something that you learn, pretty young. And if you can't
I would agree with that.
You can't do it. And now he's a first-round draft pick to be a defensive player, and he can't tackle.
I wasn't the best at tackling.
I wasn't the best at anything.
But I wasn't a first-round draft pick in the NFL, so I feel like that's fair.
Yeah. I ran in circles.
Are you a second-round draft pick in the NFL?
No, actually.
Oh.
I do have a minor league baseball profile page, though, so it got nothing on it, but it's there. Anyway,
did you make it?
One class I did like. I liked the Raiders. I liked what the Raiders did. They have the ability
on my list.
to put up a lot of points. Ashton Genty,
Fundable.
Is it Beck? Betch.
Besh.
I think it's.
Besh.
Oh, I was going to say the wrong.
Besh.
He was a guy I wanted the Jets to target.
He's a good pick. There's a lot of people that like him a lot. And
Yeah, he was getting a lot of
led the
Puka.
2021 LSU team as a freshman.
He was getting a lot of
receptions.
Puka stuff, Puka comps.
Like, this could be a fun offense. I'm not saying the Raiders are going to win a lot of games, but this could be fun. With those two paired up with Brock Bowers, Geno is going to throw the ball. He's going to throw the ball a lot. It's just going to
I
happen.
mean, it's the
But
most
there's picks,
excited.
too.
It's the most excited I've ever been to watch a Raiders game, probably. And I mean, that's a pretty low bar, but when they come on Red Zone, I'm not going to be bored watching Aiden O'Connell. It'll be fun.
I might be trying to swing up to Vegas to watch when they play the Cowboys this year.
I would do that. Yeah, I would do
Yeah.
that for sure.
You would do that, but you might not do that when you see how much tickets cost.
I was just
go
about to ask
Raiders.
how much are they?
Yeah, I don't know because it hasn't been announced yet exactly, but it's probably going to be 500 or more.
Is that per? Is that per?
Yeah, that's per. Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah.
Is that with the fees?
I hope so.
Because
Oh,
there's
man.
always like $100 more
the
fees.
Raiders,
No, dude,
Raiders
look-
games are ridiculous to get to because it is like a destination place.
Yeah, that's fair. That sucks, actually. Bengals Steelers game in Cincinnati is like $130 for not that bad of a seat. So, anyway,
Be sure to talk about Darian Porter here, Gil. Darian Porter is one of those RAS score freaks. He has the traits
What was his
to
RAS
be
score?
I'll look
a
it up.
number one corner.
You got
The
it?
problem is he only played like 7 games. As a starter.
Darren Porter is a 9.99. This is fourth.
Yeah,
Fourth out of 2,500 corners since 1987.
yeah. He's a freak. He is a guy that like
4.3
with
to
that
do that.
athleticism.
Dang.
With that athleticism, I'm taking that chance with a 3rd round pick. Like,
6'2"?
he has the tools to be a dominant corner. He just has to figure it out, and I will take a chance on that with a 3rd round pick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's off the
He's
charts.
he's a freak specimen.
Pete Carroll is going to have some fun with that.
And I don't even think the tape was that bad, to be honest, even in the small
No,
sample
it
size.
was pretty good, but there was like 7 games of it.
He got thrown at maybe 5 times. But anyway, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so in 2023, he played 12 games as a reserve and on special teams.
Okay.
And then
In
he started.
2024 was the first time he started, and he started in 7
That's
games.
a pretty good draft class.
Yeah.
Also, I like
Yeah.
Dante Thornton.
Back-
He was on my list of guys I wish Steelers would have drafted. Height, weight, speed guy.
I like going back-to-back linemen. 98, 99, both offensive linemen. Not just back-to-back and like them taking.
Little
Literally
William and
back-to-back.
Mary action.
They went back-to-back quarterback, but they have him listed as a wide receiver.
Yes, that
The
Montana
Montana
State
State
guy.
quarterback.
He will be a wide receiver. Yes.
But
It's way
Cam Miller,
funnier if
the
he's
North Dakota State,
back-to-back quarterback.
could be exciting.
And you got a guy
North Dakota
named
State?
Lindenberg out of Minnesota. He just sounds like he's going to play on special teams for a decade.
He sounds like a Big
Lindenberg.
Ten linebacker.
He does. He does. He very does.
His first team all Big Ten.
Wow.
That's not a bad value in the 7th round. to be
That's
honest.
decent. That's decent.
No, I mean, sometimes when you have draft classes that have, like, how many picks they got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12 picks. Like, it's like, all right, is it good because there's a lot? Like, is it a
Yes.
quantity over quality? I think they got good.
both.
I think they got a good combination of both here. There's a lot,
like
but
Charles
there's good
Grant.
quality.
He's good.
With some of those, like, smaller school tackles, would you move them in as guard? Like, is Charles Grant a guard or is he a tackle?
Depends which ones he's better at, you know?
You don't have to.
I just feel like I see a lot of times, like, when players, like, their offensive tackles get taken from those smaller schools, they get moved to guard.
They
Because
just
a lot of
tend
times those players are tackles at the smaller schools,
But
they're
they're
built
guard-
like guards, but
yeah,
they
they're
have
guard
to play
size.
tackle because they're the best linemen on the team.
yeah, but they got like 32-inch arms or something at the time.
That's kind of like that's exactly what Tyler Smith was. Like he's built like a guard, but he was playing tackle for Tulsa because he was the best player on the team.
What do you think of your guys' draft class?
Me,
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
It started off rough. All right. I still don't appreciate the first round pick. I don't like Booker is fine as a pick, but at 12 overall, and you're picking guard, like the value is just not there.
What
Like,
if you swapped your
the
first and
only
second
way it
round
makes
I asked him that.
it makes it better, but it doesn't make it perfect. And so I think overall the haul is a good draft. I think the steps they did to get to the result are somewhat questionable, and still like just because it wound up being good, like they don't get a discount for taking reaching at 12 overall. Like so, Ezeraku in the second is great. Like a lot of people had him as a borderline first round pick, if not a first round pick. Siobhan Ravel against same. Like a lot of people
he's
had
good.
him in the second round. He
He's
probably
good.
would have definitely been a second round, maybe even first round if he wasn't coming off an injury. Again, kind of similar to the Raiders and Darian Porter. Like he's a guy you can take a chance on in the third round, and I'm cool with that. Jaden Blue is another great pick.
Explosive.
We got some good guys in the later rounds as well. I think overall, it's a good draft. The problem with the Cowboys is you have a good draft, and it's like, yeah, that's great. The only problem is you didn't do anything to address the freaking team needs in the offseason. So, like, all right, we still have freaking door dashers at wide receiver other than CD. Like, all right, Dak's gonna sit back there. We got a good. Tyler Booker is strangely a better pass protecting player than a run blocking. But anyways, Dak's gonna sit that back there for 30 seconds, and CD's gonna be blanketed by the entire defense, and he's gonna have to throw it away because there's no one else.
He's going to get that Calvin Johnson treatment just because there's nobody else.
Yeah, exactly. So if we don't add anyone through a trade at some point, or there's been rumors of Amari Cooper reunion, which
Can I interest you in
obviously
it?
he's not
One
as-
Alan Lazard.
No, you cannot. But you can interest me in Amari Cooper. I think obviously he's not as good as he was when he was traded away for no reason, but
Good as I
he's
was.
better than what we have.
Yeah, that's not. I've seen that one popping up a little bit. It looked like I saw the Cowboys were trying to maybe poach George Pickens away.
I heard
They're
that as
trying
well.
in the veteran market. It sounds like more than.
I do think if McMillan was there, they would have taken him, but obviously he was not. And so it became either Tyler Booker or what's his face, Walter Nolan. And I'm fine with Tyler Booker over Walter Nolan for us.
Yeah. You were on watch. Like there was a.
We were worried.
That first night was brutal. Like
It was bad.
Yeah, the only person I
Drew
didn't
pick
like
up-
his first round.
Straight up, if McMillan wasn't there, most of the options were not great, and that's what happened. So it is what it is.
I was worried if you were going to wake up in the morning.
But the combination of Booker, Ezeraku, and Ravel is a good haul. I'll take it.
It's a decent haul.
And Jaden Blue.
Jaden Blue is nice.
Azaraku there at 44 was a nice pick. Especially, you're going to need him once Micah Parsons is
Oh, he's not leaving.
gone.
Go on. See you later.
Out of there.
Out
Not
of Philly.
leaving.
Out to Philly.
Nope.
Gonna get a bag for it.
Nope.
I mean, why not?
Cowboys and Steelers about
wants
to
to win
lose
a
all their money,
championship.
man. Cowboys and Steelers about to lose all their money.
We ain't losing no money. We're gaining money.
It's because you ain't spending it. I forgot. That's my bad.
Exactly.
Yep.
We straight up have millions of
And
dollars
millions.
just sitting unused. But that's enough about the Cowboys. I think they had a good draft. I didn't want to pick them as one of my top ones because I'm not a homer.
Homer.
I might be a homer, but I'm not going to be a homer right now.
All right. I think we're all kind of a homer for CJ Stroud a little bit. I thought the Texans did a good job of supplying him with weapons. grabbing both Iowa State wide
I
receivers.
think that's the only
That
thing
feels
they
un-
did well, but yes.
that feels unfair that they got both Iowa State wide receivers.
Yes, it is very unfair. It's very rude. It's selfish.
Did they have any wide receivers on their team? Only one, because the others died, but
The other one died, and the other one
also died and then
was a
left.
bum.
So
Yeah, he's a Patriot.
yeah, the rest of their class looks pretty dookie, but
I
that
know
fine.
Ursay
looks-
was a guy the
that
Jets
looks
were kind
really
of
nice.
targeting there.
I mean, they drafted a tight end out of Iowa.
Higgins
named
and
Luke.
Noel.
He's probably okay.
Higgins and Noel in the same draft is nuts.
Yeah, they just get to keep doing their thing. That's nice.
That's going to be so nice.
The problem is Stroud will have to release the ball in 1 second.
Yes.
1 second releases. Never mind.
all you got time.
Anyway, Luke, a tight end out of Iowa named Luke. That's pretty good. I'd say he's probably gonna be a really good blocker. You know.
You can't go wrong with an Iowa tight end. Might as well take him.
Yes.
I wish they would have done more to address the offensive line, seeing as they gutted it in the offseason. But, I mean, CJ's got to throw it to somebody, I guess. I mean, just quick one step and go. Just let him die back there, I suppose.
It's pretty much what they're doing.
Jaden Higgins at 34 immediately was like, oh, shit. All right, Texans. See what you're doing. And then coming back
They
with
traded back, too, so that was the
Yep.
second pick of the second round.
34.
That was a good pick. And the Noel pick, also great. That's the only thing saving them.
I agree. There's a lot of people I see liking the Colts draft, which I'm not a big fan of.
I hate the
JTT.
Colts and everything they do.
I think I just think JTT
It's
in the
crazy.
second round was a reach.
Yes, it was very much so.
Like I didn't think he
Don't
was
be a
that good of
homer.
an edge
Take the
rusher.
helmet off.
Not being a homer.
Outside of the Penn State game, he hasn't done much in his career.
No.
But the Penn
Gotta
State game
admit,
every
he's
year,
been a
though,
massive disappointment.
as long as he's playing
You
in the
don't-
state
the
of Penn
game
Yeah,
that they
but
let
you
him
don't
loose
Penn
and didn't
State.
tell him to contain every
He
single
was
play.
supposed to be
He's
And
an
the
edge
whole
rusher.
playoffs.
up.
And the
He
whole
was supposed to be
playoffs.
the next man up, and he
He was
was.
supposed to be next Chase Young, the next.
I was told he was going to be a first-round pick
Wait,
by
Grady
people
Grady.
in this chat, I feel like. So
No, never. Never in
remember.
your life.
I don't know, man.
I
You're
don't remember that
making
one.
shit up right now, man.
I don't know, man. I feel
I don't
like I've
remember
heard
that
that before.
DJ Giddens, though, that's a good pick for the Colts. I like that.
I
It's
did like
too
Bad
that.
pick because they
bad.
have Jonathan Taylor.
It's too bad. Yeah, he's not going to play. It's a bummer, actually. But when Jonathan Taylor breaks an ankle, because he does that every year, that'll be fun for DJ Giddens.
Yes.
Also,
Is Zach
Justin
Moss still there, or did he
Whaley,
leave?
Justin Whaley, corner out of
I don't know.
Minnesota. Zach Moss is a Bengal. He's been a Bengal for a year. Justin Whaley, corner out of Minnesota, is very good and has really good ball skills. Emphasis on that.
Knows how to handle those balls.
He does.
God damn
He
it.
does. He does.
Justin Whaley.
Yep.
Quite the name.
What? Like Tyler Warren all along made sense for the Colts. It's like Brock
Did.
Bowers to the Colts last
Looks like
year.
Dallas Clark.
We mocked it
Yeah.
100
Long hair.
times. I'm not a Tyler Warren believer, though. So we'll see.
It's crazy.
It depends on what you're looking for in a tight end.
I just don't think the value's
looking-
there, personally. Unless you're going to run your
Or-
offense through them, I just don't think tight end is a first-round position.
This is George Kittle.
And I don't know if I'd spend a first-round draft pick on George Kittle.
I don't think the 49ers did when they got him, did they?
No, he was a fifth.
Yeah, so the value is just not there.
But the
Tight end
49ers
is-
also got it for franchise quarterback with the
Tight-
last pick. So
Tight end is very fungible. Not as fungible as running back, but it
Take it
feels like
easy,
it.
Gil.
No.
I think one of the top tight ends is not fungible.
Yeah,
But that's
top
also
five,
running back.
top five.
Okay,
That's also
sure.
running back.
Top five
Saquon
tight
Barkley
ends,
is not
and then it
fungible,
drops
but
down
running
a
back
lot.
is. Travis
Like, the
Kelce in
top
his
running
prime.
backs-
Maybe.
Travis Kelce in his prime was not fungible, but if you have an average tight end, I don't think it's going to stop you from winning a Super Bowl, for example.
But it won't make you elite.
I mean, I feel like we could.
Eagles
other than
had
the
a
Bucks,
average tight end, and they just won a Super Bowl.
Goddard
Goddard is an average
This
tight
year
end.
he's average.
He's an average
is
tight end.
He's
not
average now.
Yes,
No.
he
In
is, dude.
2024, he is.
No,
Oh my gosh,
no.
dude.
Okay, he's slightly
Goddard's
above
great.
average.
Goddard is great.
He's not.
Not
good.
anymore.
He is
He's
not
above average.
great, dude.
I mean,
Anyway,
like
400 yards, not even 500 yards this year.
He was hurt.
I would take
42 catches.
an elite tight end this high if I knew he was going to be elite.
Yeah.
I don't know if Warren.
I mean, you were ready to make me a great deal for Brock Bowers the other day.
Yes, that's one of the elite tight ends. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Great. Perfect.
I feel like you guys are missing the plot here.
I'm not missing any plot.
I said if a tight end is great, and Brock Bowers is one of them, he is not fungible.
Yep.
But most tight ends are fungible.
Perfect.
All right,
I don't know about all that.
unless you think
Goddard's
Dallas.
not going for less than a third. He's not going for less than a third.
Okay, pick a tight end in the third all day long. I'm cool with that. But you picked one at 14. There's a difference.
Well,
How'd you feel about the Bears taking Loveland at 10 then?
I
think it's
I
better.
think it's gonna work out great with pairing him and Kmet, and then you get the receiving core. You got a more of a small. People like to compare him to Travis Kelce, but I think he's a little bit smaller.
I feel he's a little bit more lean.
Yes, and I think
I mean, he better go for
is
1,000
very,
yards
very
a
good
year,
tight
man.
end.
He better go for 1,000 a year.
Good.
You can't. No, see now here's an argument. If that player plays for your team for 10, 7, 8+ years and you spend a first-round draft pick on him, good for you. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. And that is what that player, him and Warren, both have the chance to do. If you have because you also have like
I mean, I think
hold
that's
on,
true
hold on.
for anybody. I mean,
No,
if you
hold
get
on,
a
no,
guy
I'm
that
not-
plays
no,
for 10
hold
years,
on.
okay.
Stats are cool, but if you get a guy that is good in the locker room, is a captain year in and year out, and that's a veteran on that squad.
You overplay that card a lot.
No, because that's part of who you're drafting. That's why they do the interviews. Is it not?
No, I
but
agree. You want to get a
I'm
good
not-
guy, a leader in the locker room and everything, but that doesn't make you a first-round pick.
Why?
It didn't make
want a star over
it didn't
Raiders
didn't
still on
make
the Eagles?
Captain
Why did he
Jack
stay there
Sawyer a
his whole
first-round
year?
pick.
Jason Kelsey.
Because
Jason
Jason Kelsey's a
Kelce
Hall
Stayed
of
there 'cause he's the
Famer.
best center in the league.
Yeah, because he's a Hall of Famer. That's probably why.
Brandon Graham.
Hall of Famer.
He has dropped off exponentially, but they've
Well, yeah,
kept
he
him
does
and play him.
age.
That is
just saying.
because
You still gotta be
You don't just, you
Brandon
don't
Graham
just draft
is
for stats. You
Brandon Graham is
draft
37 years
for
old.
the player
He's
and
37.
the contribution that he brings to the program. That is why you draft him
yes,
first
the
round.
contribution on
There's
the
more
field
Yeah,
is
but
factors.
very
you need more
important. I agree.
I'd rather the stats over leadership. Like, stats win games, leadership doesn't.
If
I'm
he's
drafting
a
Loveland over Warren every time, though. I think his archetype of tight end is. More
It fits
valuable.
most NFL schemes, and you can use him, and he becomes more valuable as a first-round draft pick. Speaking of value as a first-round draft pick, I am not sure how I feel about Travis Hunter and the whole Jaguars thing. Like, I think
I love it.
good pick for the Jaguars, but giving up next year's first again for a non-quarterback to move up from 5 to 3, I don't like that.
2.
5-2.
2, yeah, 5 to 2.
I do if he
moved
plays
up pretty
both sides. If he plays both sides and he's a good wide receiver and a good corner, it's like Shohei. I mean, the value of that is exponential. But he's got to play both and he's got to be good at both.
That's the thing. It's going to be so hard for him to play both and be good at both.
I mean, that's the gamble you're willing to take, though, if you're going up to 2 and you're giving up a first.
I mean, other
I
than
think
that,
towards
that's
the end of the first year, he will be a one-position player.
probably.
Majority
He's
of the
just
time.
going to.
They might throw him in like every once in a while on defense, but he's going to be a wide receiver.
We'll see.
I don't know. I think he can stay on the field. I think they'll give him every opportunity to do the two-way thing, and I think he'll finish the season that
I
way.
think he's just. Well, they'll give him every opportunity, but at some point, you're just going to get exhausted. Your body has got like
He just did it for a full college season, so I don't think the exhaustion is going to be the issue. I think he's got elite stamina, or just he's a physical specimen. The issue is going to be if he keeps getting burnt. I don't think he's going to be tired. I think it's going to be come down to results on the field. I think he could do it. It's just
but the exhaustion and
If
having
he
to go
gets
up against
burned, he's
bigger,
got to
faster
get
guys.
tired.
Like going up against bigger, faster guys than what
Like
you're used to.
So he's going up against Pittman, Alex Pierce, big guy, also fast.
I'm not scared of
Pittman is
Iowa
either
a
State
dog.
guy.
dudes.
Let's see, both Iowa State guys
And
that he
think
did
you're
not
missing
do well
someone.
against.
that dog from Houston that apparently isn't a number 1 wide receiver that you don't game plan for.
Nico Collins.
Yeah,
If
that
Nico cooks him, I'll be happy.
It's because you're a homer.
Nico
Nico's
probably
gonna-
will. He's one of the best receivers in the league.
I don't even know I don't know what that classifies as. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair conversation, but
I don't think giving up a first round pick to go get him was a good idea.
That's my issue. I don't mind him going number 2 overall, but giving up a first round pick, a future first, is where
if he plays both sides, he kind of counts as 2 players. So
he can
think of
play
it
both
like you
sides, but he's
drafted-
got-
He plays
you drafted-
badly at both sides.
well, then you fail, and you're it is what it is. But I'm trying to grade this pick based on what they're trying to do with it, and if you give up a future first, just think of it like you drafted cornerback next year and wide receiver this year.
I
Both
get
in
what you're
first round.
saying, and it makes sense. The likelihood of that being the case is very low.
It is above 0. That is
It is above 0. It is not. It is not much higher than that.
Yeah, no, I
And-
think that's fair.
I think what's
But you could say that about
Probably,
any first round pick. If they don't work out, that's a huge L. I mean, that's
Yeah, but his
absolutely.
like
But it's a bigger
if
L
he
when
was
you give up
just
as
a
much.
wide receiver or just a corner, he doesn't go 2. So like he needs that extra value to be worth 2, in my opinion. If not, then you just gave up 2 first rounds for like a 6th round or a 6 overall pick. Let's just say he was
Maybe.
just a wide receiver, just like I don't
And
know. I'm not
Maybe.
vibing with it.
maybe.
I still
I
think
could
he will
see
be
it.
good as a wide receiver on the Jags. If you didn't give up that extra first round pick, that would be great. But you did.
You also wouldn't
I could
have him
definitely
if
see
you
a
didn't give it
scenario.
up. So there's that.
That is true. And then he'd be on the Browns and his career would be over.
Yes.
His career might be over on the Jags. I don't know.
do you think he saw that phone call? Like he saw, oh, cool, the Browns are trading out this pick,
Buddy was
Then he saw that
sprinting
Jacksonville
down the
area
tunnel,
code.
dude. He was pumped.
and he's like,
Listen, like, I know a lot of people say that
no
about the
income
Jags.
tax.
I would rather play for the Jags than the Browns.
Yeah.
I think 10 times out of 10 I would play
The
for
Browns-
Those bucks
Brian
off-
Thomas.
The Browns are literally
Brian
last.
Thomas, Lawrence.
The Browns are last. They're the last team I would ever want to play for. Obviously, I'm a Steelers fan.
The
I'm gonna say
Jaguars
that.
might be 31.
At least you get to live in Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No state income tax. You go from
He's a
man.
big fisherman. He's
Dude, that's
gonna
like
love it.
that's like a 3% impact, if we're being honest. But
Ah, it's
nonetheless,
better than
Much.
state income taxes in Ohio is a little over 3%, so it's not that
Tell
big.
that
of
to
a-
Purdy, who's demanding $40 million when he could be fine with 35.
But he lives in
If
California.
you
lived in
live in
Florida.
with 35.
And what if he
That's
lived
it.
in Florida?
Imagine if someone trying to take $5 million away from you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
going to be like, all right. Yeah,
I got
you're
$5
right.
million that you can take.
You're proving my point right now.
I'm not.
I think
proving
we
your
all-
point.
We have the same idea. We're just not agreeing on the words.
I'm just confused.
Get the money you're worth.
All right.
Get the money you're worth. Don't sell yourself short.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Even if you are bad like Purdy. But anyway.
Hey, take it easy.
He's
Alan.
gonna ruin the 49ers, man. And as
49ers
NFC
are-
as NFC people, you two should be happy about that.
49ers.
I want him to get
49ers.
$65 million a year. I want him to get $70 million a year.
100. Just make it 100.
Make it 100. Make it 100. It's Mr. Irrelevant. Give it to him.
Oh man.
10-year contract. $1 billion.
Is there anything else that we need to discuss? Anything else that
I
anybody
think the
wants to
Lions
mention?
were bad, and I think the Cardinals were good, and I think
I like
the
the
Giants were
Cardinals.
also good.
I also
I like the
agree.
Cardinals.
The Giants were good. I think the Steelers were good. I'll explain why in another video.
I didn't mind the Jets. I thought day one, I thought the first 3 rounds were good. After that, I had no idea what they were doing. It's like they had a plan the first 3 picks, and then it's like they lost their plans once round 4 hit.
I mean, honestly, that's all you need, really.
Yeah.
The dog
I was
ate the draft
surprised.
plans. Aaron Glenn's dog ate the draft plans after the first day.
Well, their first 3 picks, it was like, all right, that's good value. They're both like 20, or not both, they're all 3 like 20 years old.
Yeah, those are good.
The
I
logic
like
makes sense.
Malachi Moore. I mean, a safety out of Alabama is going to have some value. Arian Smith, though,
And he was a guy that
is a terrible pick.
was bad.
That's a bad
That was
pick.
bad.
He can't catch. I'm just going to
And-
tell you that right now.
No.
Really
know.
fast. Really fast, but he cannot catch.
Yep.
So
I was bummed. Part of me thinks that they were expecting Kyle Williams to be there at 73, and then the Patriots took him. So that kind of like messed up their whole wide receiver plan. But they fell in love with Arian Smith for some reason in the draft process. Like, they brought him in on a top 30. Like, they did a lot of work with Arian Smith. Malachi Moore, I like. You know, like you said, Alabama safety. He was one of those guys that he was a Saban guy. And this past year, it's a young defensive back room, and he was one veteran in that room, and he held up pretty well. So he'll be fine. But
Except
you
with
get-
losing to Vanderbilt, but
yeah, but that's not his fault. Armand Membu, that's kind of what I leaned into, like, prediction-wise. Mason Taylor, is he a Colston Loveland? No, but I think he could be a solid tight end. And honestly, it's kind of what we need. No, I think
Fannin would have been more
he
fun.
can be good. I agree, but they like their big school guys. That's the other thing. Like, they like SEC, ACC, ACC.
That is
Like, they like
a
their big
specific
school guys.
region. Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't. They say it's down south. They were not leaving. They just had all their scouts go down there and said, "Hey, everybody else, we don't need you. You in the northwest, screw you."
I just
Sure.
got 3 things to say about the Steelers draft class that I will dive deeper into. Derek Harmon in the first round
I
called
think
it,
your mom.
nailed it. Will Howard in the 6th, steal. Think that was a great pick. And Caleb Johnson, my favorite pick of the entire draft. And I'm on the hype train for that. I've watched a lot of Caleb Johnson highlights again. I really liked him the first time I watched the film. I saw him run the 40 and I got scared, and I shouldn't have, because the tape doesn't lie. One of the most explosive runners in college game. And some guys just don't run a good 40. Derrick Henry didn't run a good 40. Derrick Henry and Caleb Johnson both ran 4.5. You don't see Derrick Henry getting caught on long runs very often. I'm not calling him Derrick Henry. It's just a speed thing. It was a speed thing. He's not Derrick Henry. He's not Derrick Henry. But I think he's really good. And I might get that jersey if he picks a good number. I've been checking every day to see what number he picks.
Well, I wouldn't. I'd still wait till like week 1
No, it's
before
okay.
you buy that, because like
No, it's okay. 90-day tariff pause.
because he might.
90-day tariff pause. Anyway.
All right. Anybody else have any final thoughts?
I like the draft, and I'm sad that it's over.
Now we have a month till schedule release, and then we start talking
Wow,
about like
schedule release, dude. They should get. They should have got booed for the schedule
That was so
release
dumb.
announcement they did. That was stupid.
Also, it's going to be
like that.
really fun when the Steelers pick a first-round quarterback in Pittsburgh next year. That's going to be epic. So,
Nah,
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is going to win you guys like 9 games.
man, that dude rent
You're not
free
gonna
in
be
your
able to move
head
up.
so bad. It's so funny.
Mike Tomlin gonna win you 9 games.
Yeah, and then we're gonna get the extra third, fourth, fifth, and sixth we got along with our first, package it, and throw in an next year first. I don't care to go get somebody. That's it. Cam, what were you gonna
We'll see.
say?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh, I thought you were.
You definitely were.
No.
Something.
I said nope.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's call it a wrap.
This was
I'm
fun.
not sure what's coming here. I'm not sure what's coming up here at Party Chat Sports. This is kind of like dog days.
Sadness
About to be a
hours.
lull. We'll try sadness hours. We're going to have to get creative. So if you have any suggestions on things that you'd like us to do, things you'd like us
Oh, I had
like
one.
to see
I had
from
one a
us.
few days ago, didn't I? What was that idea?
I saw it.
Anyway, we'll look
We'll
for
share it later.
Look for
We'll
it.
share that episode later.
Yeah.
So this is where we're really going to have to use our brain power to come up with like different content. But we're going to try keeping things up on the feed for you at Party Chat Sports. Make sure you follow anywhere and everywhere you get your podcasts on YouTube, TikTok, and stay up to date on Twitter. It's been a fun draft season. Sad it's over, but that just means that the light is near. The NFL season will be here before we know it. So
Not
Probably
near,
not.
very far away.
Probably not.
it's closer. It's closer than it was
XFL.
yesterday.
It's
It's
baseball
at the
season.
very end of the tunnel.
Baseball
It's
season.
getting there. I see it. It's just very far away.
Yeah,
Good
you
for
can
you.
see it, but
Good
it's
for
as
you.
far as far. Excuse me.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Hey, these last couple months have flown by. All right, this is. I'm trying to
Not
stay
really.
positive, guys.
Not really.
I'm trying to stay
Sad.
positive.
Every day
baseball-
we get closer. You are right.
Exactly. I am right all the time.
Every
So
day we
until
get
next-
closer
60%
to
of
Elder
the time.
Scrolls 6.
You're right all the time.
Until
Right
next
around
time,
the corner.
stay tuned.
The light's at the end of the tunnel.
Let us know what you want us to do and what you like to see. Until next time. Peace.
Bye.
Go Cowboys.